Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you surely know that this is my deep dive into an expansive and stimulating deck called the Egyptian Tarot by C.C. Zane and the Brotherhood of Light. And just in case you are new here, let me give you a rundown of what I do every day. At the end of the day, before I go to bed, I riffle shuffle my mass market color version of the Egyptian Tarot, which is readily available, easy to get, very reasonable cost, easily replaceable. So I riffle shuffle it and I pull my daily draw from that deck. And then I take the matching card from my very out-of-print edition of the Egyptian Tarot, which is not color but charcoal gray and white, as I like to say, and I look at them. I look at the differences, I look at the similarities, and generally they're very similar. There's only one card that I've noticed where there's a very different image on it, but except for that one, the Hermit, they're all almost exactly the same. And so I look at them and then I ask for help from a different deck, because that's the way I've liked to do my deep dives. I pull out a card from a deck that I'm just trying to learn, and then I use a deck that I'm more familiar with to help me unpack the daily draw card. The deck that I'm using for my helper deck, my assistant deck, is the Tarot of the Holy Light by the brilliant Christine Payne-Towler. And it's a deck that I'm just beginning to be a little bit more familiar with. So, and I didn't want to put it aside for this deep dive. So I do a 3-card spread. The first card is the significance of the daily draw card for me for the next day. The second card is the challenge. And the third card is advice. Significance, challenge, advice. And that challenge could be positive or negative. Something to reach for, strive for, or something to recognize as a potential obstacle. So that's what I do. Then I go to bed and I wake up and I live my day, and then I come back and I analyze the spread more carefully, and I consider how the meanings and the associations that I see in those cards either revealed themselves to me during the day, or they perhaps are still in the process of being revealed. I'm still being asked to consider more, to reflect more on the events of my life. That makes sense, I hope. I certainly hope so. So that's what we do, and that's what I'm doing. And so, friends, I have the daily draw card all ready for you. Let me show you those cards. Now, the same card in 2 different editions right now. Friends, you just saw that I had the 10 of Wands for my daily draw card. Yeah, and you probably also saw, let me show them to you again. They're almost exactly the same, right? I'm sorry, my hands are a little bit slippy right now. Yes, they're almost exactly the same. The sides of the wands seem almost identical to me. And you'll see that they are both associated with the sign of Leo. I see the lion up in the corner, that's Leo. And so there are no constellations on the 10s in this deck. The constellations are only visible on the 1s through the 9s, and the 10s of the suits give us the fixed sign for that element's zodiac. Yeah, this is Wands, which is fire. So fixed fire is Leo. And guess what I am? Guess what my sun is? My sun is Leo. Guess what the planet for Leo is? The planet for Leo is the sun. I mean, what could be better, right? So, I know, I'm going a little overboard, aren't I? But still, the 10 of Wands points to Leo, which is the domicile of the sun, from which fixed fire's vital attributes enter our world. That's a me, right? So, what does this card represent for us? Well, there's a long list of stuff that we can consider. Things around new business, new inventions, yeah, an invention or discovery, new business methods, a change in status, attraction of working conditions. I'm sorry, not attraction, alterate, new business, also, I'm sorry, a change in status, which is kind of mirrored by an alteration of working conditions, which could be either positive or negative, right? Change in status could also be positive or negative. Unconventional trends, which affect reputation, both either positively or negatively. A variety of personal activities. The new replaces the old, so there's a lot of newness here in the tens. It asks us to take initiative to maintain balance. A change in personality might be indicated. Unexpected honor through arts and sciences, not really expecting that today. Outdated principles applied to modern methods. So we got something modern going on, but you're using the old way of thinking about it. And also a really random thing to me, effect of automation. And so, especially when we think of when this deck was first published, which was in the 30s. In the 30s, the idea of automation was just beginning, really. I mean, there was automation before, but things like the automat were coming into popularity. The automat, do you know what an automat is? The automat was a kind of automatic cafeteria. Yeah, it was kind of like a restaurant made of vending machines. So there would be people in the back stocking the machines, and you'd go in and you put your money in, and you open a drawer, and you pull out the thing you just purchased, and put it on a tray and bring it to your table. And that was the automat. Kind of like I said, a vending machine restaurant. So the ideas of the effect of automation were just beginning to become an issue, I believe, at the time that this deck was published. So that might be why it's included here. So we've got a lot of things here, right? We've got new discoveries, new inventions, changes of work, changes of personality, perhaps, the new replacing the old, but also the old ideas affecting the new thing is also a potential, I would say, a potential drawback, a potential stumbling block, because there were outdated principles being placed on modern or new methods of working. So all that stuff was indicated for me for today. And so I really did want help. I really did want help with this, because when I think of Leo and the 10 of in relation to wands, I think of playfulness. I think of the light of the sun, of the joyfulness of the sun. I think of vitality. I think of interesting and enjoyable interactions. A little bit of showmanship. Leos can be show people, right? And I suppose there's some of that in here. Tens are also the completion. So there are a lot of things here to think about. So, like I said, I did a 3-card spread using the Tarot of the Holy Light, and I think that helped me quite a bit. So let me show you those cards right now. You just saw the 3 cards from left to right. Upright, the Knight of Discs, Pentacles, the Earth Knight, right? And then the next 2 cards were wands. One of them reversed, the Ace of Wands reversed. Made me a little bit unhappy, but it kind of made sense as that being the challenge card. So this is a potential obstacle, I think. Half and half obstacle. And then the advice was another wands card. Yeah, the 6 of Wands. So we've got 2 wands and an earth as the 3-card spread, helping me unpack the 10 of Wands. And one being kind of centered on work, the other 2 centered on more creativity and passions. At least that's the way I read them, as far as elemental, um, broad-ranging ideas. So let's start with the Knight of Pentacles, because that was the card that directly helps me unpack the 10 of Wands from the Egyptian Tarot. And here we see this very stout-looking knight, not exactly walking at a gallop or a run, but walking firmly through his kingdom. We've got the what do we have? I'm sorry. We've got this disc in his hand, which I really have trouble reading the writing on that disc. However, we've got the geometric symbols on there reminding us of perhaps magical workings, alchemy, and we've got a shovel in his hand. Now, this is the earthen knight, right? This is the one who works the fields, perhaps. And do you notice the skull off there on the left? Now, there's this skull right over here. Hopefully that's on your left. It might be on your right, but in the card, it's the left of the card, which is a little bit, I don't want to say completely unsettling, but it does draw attention to me. We got the sun above, we got the sun below, we've got the moon below, but we really have this stout-looking knight walking through the fields carrying a disc, because he's a disc guy, and a shovel. Fertile ground, mountains in the background, mountains sometimes representing obstacles, but yeah, there we go. So what is the Knight of Discs in this deck? Well, the Knight of Discs in this deck is, you can see down here, is Virgo. So the Knight of Discs points to Virgo, which is the domicile of Mercury, from which mutable Earth's vital attributes enter our world. Mutable Earths. Yeah, the Earth getting ready to move on to the next thing. And Virgo is also a sign that's getting ready to move on to the next thing. It's the end of winter, I'm sorry, the ending of summer, the beginning of the cooling period. So what is the Knight of Discs here trying to tell us? Well, this knight is a peace-loving knight. This isn't the one that's ready to charge out an attack or ride off on the horse on a passionate adventure. This is the knight of focus on fertility and growth, represented by agriculture, but not necessarily only agriculture. He has the sensitivity and the wits of the natural creatures of the realm. Yeah, the natural creatures that he lives with, including deer and eagles. Yeah, the natural wits of the natural creature. He's not a stupid knight. He's a naturally sensitive knight, is what I would like to say. He has the build for slow, steady paced movement of the seasons. He's not a sprinter. He walks slowly with the seasons. He moves slowly with the seasons. And he wants tangible results for his labors. Now, he's not the theoretician. He's not the one who dreams the dreams, but rather he wants the stuff, the visible stuff, that to be the result of the work he does. He has a love of science, as well as the stewardship of nature. And so this knight is very apt to study as well. He likes to solve problems, and he does research and researches solutions. And the research can be in a laboratory, but it could also be the cultural wisdom of his community. It could be in books. It could be research done within himself as well. He draws up the knowledge that he contains, possibly from the collective unconscious. He does best when he's left alone to putter, though. Yeah, he's not the one you want to kick and say, get it done, get it done, get it done. No, this knight needs the time to do the work, to get the things in line the way he thinks that they should be and the way he likes them, kind of Virgo-like, right? So while Mercury is the planet in this sign, this isn't the bouncing off the walls kind of Mercury. This is a Mercury of thought, of communication, but of the mature Mercury. He's reasonable. He's responsible. He is predictable and gentle. His intuition, when healthy, tells him who to trust and who not to trust. Which is interesting, because I think some of that was at play for me today, in many respects. And so the unpacking of this being the new stuff, the alteration of working conditions, perhaps, but a variety of personal activities, I think was applicable to today. Maintaining balance. I think this is unpacking that aspect of this card. And so, what was the challenge for me today? That was the Ace of Wands reversed. And I've gotten this ace both upright and reversed during this deep dive, which is interesting. And it came up reversed today as, I believe, an obstacle rather than something to strive for. But there is some gold to be dug out of this challenge as well. What is the Ace of Wands? The Ace of Wands is it's Aries of Aries. I sometimes say supersized Aries, but maybe this is the master bedroom of the domicile of the Aries home. So the Ace of Wands points to the Aries decanate of Aries and its subruler Mars, from which the cardinal aspect of cardinal fire's vital attributes enter our world. We've got the double whammy of cardinality here with Mars. Now, fresh out of the gate, ready to take action, ready to do stuff, balanced, but ready to act, ready to move. With passion, with interest, with discovery, with fire, when it's upright. And here, when we see it upright, it's a beautiful card. Yeah, we've got the hand reaching up reaching out from the clouds, grasping this small sprout of a plant that's just come up and is just starting to become a viable being, I believe. And there's this intricate disc in just behind, which always makes me think of a flower. With Latin on it and the signs of the zodiac, we've got fire in the background. So we've got this initial fire burning behind, but at a safe distance. When we go into reverse, what do we get? Well, reverse, this is Mars in Scorpio, perhaps the more mature version of Mars. Yeah, because this is the first decanate, we have either the domicile or the similar. The Mars being in the other home, which would be Scorpio, which is my ascendant sign, by the way. So Mars in Scorpio is intuitive, persistent, and driven. But still we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So the potential for premature termination of long-desired plans, perhaps starts that have been spoiled, or beginnings have been postponed. There might be a poor handoff of a task. Yeah, the thing which had begun is either stumbling or getting cut off. Sometimes it's because of circumstances. Sometimes circumstances won't allow the intended outcome. It's not only due to our mishandling of things or having a false start. It could just be the circumstances aren't going to allow this sprout to continue growing. And still we have the potential, the opportunity for our free will to select to focus on our desires, to make preparations for an opportunity, to make preparations for a sprout that can shoot up in the near future. Hopefully. We have the opportunity to clear obstacles for the new growth and to empower our own change. And there was that bit of empowering change in this card as well, right? Yeah, taking the initiative, a change in personality, change the way we interact with the world, with other people, perhaps, especially in the realms of our creativity and our doing of stuff in the world. So it's time to dedicate this moment to projects that will get us started in a new direction. So there is that part of the more positive challenge. Yeah, there is the challenge in this card of false starts, poor handoff, circumstances not being the right time for the new sprout to continue growing, wither and die, perhaps. But also, we have the opportunity and the challenge to prepare for the new one in this card. And to imagine what that would be. Yeah, Scorpio, imagining it. The creativity of a Scorpio is also there. And so the advice was to Six of Wands, upright. And what is the Six of Wands in this? Well, what do we have? We've got the lion, we've got the eagle, together in, I believe, a dance of enjoyment and mutual maybe satisfaction, mutual congratulation. We've got the Six Wands over there to the side. Where do we have the Six Wands? On both sides, yeah? We've got both a triangle, a circle with a diamond above and below, with seeing the eye of God in both. Flowering plants. Each one of the beasts has their crown on. Beautiful card. And we see at the bottom that this is Leo, the sun in Leo. So the Six of Wands points to the Leo decadent of Leo and its sub-ruler, the sun, from which the fixed aspect of fixed fire and vital attributes enter our world. So we're back at fixed fire as the advice. Yeah, we're back in the master suite of the house of Leo. And supersized fixed fire, which can be a little bit stubborn, but in a sense, that's also my birth card. Yeah, because I was born in the first decade of Leo. So here we go. And what does this card ask me to give attention to? Well, this is the heart of the tree of life. This is Tiferet, the sixes. So this is a heart card, right? It's asking me to have understanding of self in a world of dualities. Who am I? What is important to me? How do I evolve? How do I individuate? How do I self-actualize? Yeah, what is my place and my role in my world and in my creation? And how can I learn to reveal my true desires, which will benefit not only me, but the collective as well? And how do I embody my own generosity as being the first among equals, which is the way Leos best express themselves? That could be the lead servant of their people, but the first among equals. Which is interesting. Today, what do I want to say about today? Today was interesting in a few ways and very uninteresting in most. Some of the things that made me think of Ten of Wands were, one, I'd slept on and woken up with the idea of suggesting to another YouTube creator, another content creator, and if you're listening, you know who you are, that we might want to do a collaborative thing, maybe like a series of once a month of some kind, because this creator I enjoy speaking to. I have an emotional connection with this creator in a friendship, a deep friendship. And suddenly I've noticed that there were a whole bunch of synchronicities between this person and I, between you and I, if you're listening. And so I just thought maybe this would be a good time for us to somehow work on something together. Don't know what that is going to be. Hopefully it would be both tarot related and related to our mutual interests or surrounding maybe spirituality, surrounding the ways of living life, ways of being in the world, things that we're both interested in from different aspects. I thought that would be really interesting. I don't know what that would look like yet, but I not pitched an idea. I lobbed that idea out today. So there's that. I also went in and finished doing my first organization of my library of tarot decks in my office and started cataloging them and separating them into categories. And so I did more of that work. And at first, when I put them in the shelves, I was thinking, God, this looks like a scattered mess. And now the more that I look at it, I'm feeling more comfortable with it and actually more appreciative of the work that I've done so far. So there is some of that, I think, 10 of Wands-ness here. Some of that preparing for the future, clearing away and preparing for opportunities in the future with the Ace of Wands reversed. Doing the plotting work of and using my intuition and doing the study of what I have and what is available and how can I organize and how can I do that like a good Virgo might with the Knight of Discs. What else? And then I had some interesting interactions online with some interesting people that are neither in the United States or Korea. Both of them, I think, are residing. No, one of them is in Germany and one of them is in France, and just interesting. Just interesting. Nothing beyond that. And it looks like at least one of them might be into meditation, which I thought was kind of cool. And then there was also an interaction with somebody who I'm really starting to get kind of be careful vibes from, which reminds me a little bit more of that Knight of Discs here. The intuition tells me who to trust and who not to trust. I was starting to get that don't trust this person vibes today as well. But also I was doing in organizing my shelves and in talking to maybe you, the YouTube creator, also thinking of ways that I might be able to share what I don't want to say share what I know, but share what I'm interested in. Share different aspects of what most of us here are interested in related to tarot and also oracle decks and also Lenormand, Sybil, the range of cartomantic stuff. In addition to maybe even a pendulum here or there. But divination and spirituality in a way that is peculiar to myself and maybe you. Part of that is the process of understanding who I am and what I bring to the table, I think. Learning how I can reveal my true desires, as was, I think, very well indicated in this Six of Wands. Yeah. And I want to be generous, but I want to figure out a way for me to be generous that is both satisfying to myself and to those around. while I also prepare for a way to be of service in another way of reading for people, right? So that was my day. Not nearly as dramatic as the last day or so has been, but I think the cards did do a meaningful job of assisting me and reminding me at the end of the day of what has transpired. Do you agree? If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I would really, really love to hear from you. And friends, also, if you have not subscribed, subscribe to the channel and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. I'm still doing one a day, God willing, until the new moon of this month, being February. Also, if you're still here, hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube knows that you watched this and other people might want to watch this as well. And if you want to get these decks, I have links in the description box below for the wonderful, I highly recommend this. I almost order you to get this deck and start working with it and learning it, because it will be of great benefit to you as a tarot reader if you don't already have it and you have not already started working with this deck. This has been a blessing for me. And if you want to get another level of different systems, this deck is also very good. So deck has helped me, I think, understand more the ways that astrology in tarot can reveal meaning, and also how astrology in different systems of tarot can interact with each other, which is something that the wonderful Christine Payne-Towler asked me to consider. And I am considering how the astrology of this deck, which is different from the astrology of this deck, how they're speaking to each other and how they're echoing off of each other. For example, what would be the Leo Decunate of Leo in this deck is going to be a different card from the Leo Decunate of Leo in this deck. No? So, I believe the Leo Decunate of Leo in this deck is the 6. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Leo Decunate of Leo in this deck, the Egyptian Tarot, is the 4 of Wands. So they're different, but the majors, the associations for the majors are different as well as far as zodiac and element. The association for the Hebrew letters are the same, I think, for both of these decks. Anyway, so there are ways that they interact and they speak to each other in interesting and intriguing and enlightening ways. And so I would also highly recommend this deck. The link to the color readily available mass market version of the Egyptian Tarot is also in the description box below. And if you want a reading from me, I am available. Send me an email to thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com and we'll get you a reading. Whatever kind of reading you want, let's do it together. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.